Dear boys and girls, dear students, now I can't welcome anymore President Zuma, but I wish him a good journey to Durban. Dear Secretary General of the United Nations, Mr. Ban Ki-moon, dear beloved Graça Machel, dear Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, very much on purpose, I've just broken all diplomatic rules by addressing the children and the students first, because they are our future. It's my firm belief that we as adults, and in most cases parents, have the obligation to do everything what is possible to create a better future for our children. And in this context, and it had been mentioned, I think it is a shame and a scandal that around 70 million children want to go to primary school but cannot, simply because there are no schools. This was a reason for me to initiate in 2005 Schools for Africa, together with Nelson Mandela, his foundation, and UNICEF International, to build up to 5,000 schools in the southern hemisphere of Africa. The Schools for Africa campaign, which started in May 2005, has developed into the worldwide most successful private initiative in the education sector. Ladies and gentlemen, national committees from UNICEF in more than 24 countries are meanwhile participating in the fundraising. More than 700 primary schools have been built, respectively refurbished, and 1 million children are now going to school in the southern hemisphere of Africa because of our initiative. But there's always a but in life. But ladies and gentlemen, this private initiative, this private campaign of the Nelson Mandela Foundation, of UNICEF International, and my Hamburg Society for the Promotion of Democracy and International Law cannot solve the big problem, the implementation of the second Millennium Development Goal. And it's cheap. It's not only the most influential MDG, it's cheap. It just cost $15 billion to build the 80 to 100,000 primary schools that each child in the world can go to primary school. If we take the financial crisis, and as I'm coming from Germany, from Hamburg, I know perfectly that only one German bank got 115 billion euros, not US dollars, in cash and in guarantees to get them rescued. What is in 15 billion US dollars to give schools to every child in the world? It's peanuts, ladies and gentlemen. It's really peanuts. Schools for Africa is by far not alone. I welcome so much that the United Nations have declared this year the Madiba Day as D-Day, the birthday of Nelson Mandela, for the implementation of the second MDG. The Holy Father has in 2007 urged our German Chancellor to bring it on the agenda in Germany on the G8 summit. Unfortunately, the Holy Father failed in this respect. It didn't come on the agenda. The greatest man alive, your Madiba, said in the most simple but clearest way, education is the key for a better world. And this is very true. Education is the key for growth and prosperity. Education is the key for health, i.e., in our schools, child-friendly schools, we are learning to protect against malaria and HIV/AIDS. And education is a basis for any democratic development. Only someone who can read and write and has some knowledge about the world can participate in any democratic process. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, education means dignity, human dignity. We have achieved a lot. We developed vaccines against pox. We have flown to the moon, as you have just seen it. We are building skyscrapers exceeding 500 meters. But we have forgotten one thing, the deep understanding that all individuals living on this planet are part of one world, of our world. The globalization requires global social responsibility. None of us can live anymore at the expenses of the others. Wealthy countries must share with poor countries. It's my deep belief that if we invest in education, and this includes also social education, ladies and gentlemen, we will have the chance to live in a better world. Martin Luther King once said, "I have a dream." The second MDG is not a dream. It is a commitment of the 189 states, as we have learned, who signed the MDGs in August in the year 2000. Let's start with the most important one and the cheapest one, the second one. Dear Graça Machel, when we saw each other 4 years ago in Mozambique, now I'm missing a page, but I know it anyway. No? Dear Graça, when we saw each other 4 years ago in Mozambique, while visiting your lovely country and a school in the suburbs of Maputo, you said very kindly as goodbye, you said, "I wish there were more Peter Kraemers on this world." Graça, I do not know whether this is really desirable, as I'm quite special. But one thing is for sure, if we bring all children in the world to school, we will build up an educated generation with self-confidence, with dignity and social responsibility. Then we will have many Peter Kraemers in our world, fortunately with different names and different characters. Ladies and gentlemen, let's simply do it. Thank you very much for your attention. And now I'm brave enough and serious and optimistic at the same time. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, if you like to stand up with me and sing together the wonderful song from Martin Luther King's peace movement, "We Shall Overcome." We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome some days, and deep in my heart I do believe we shall overcome some days. We will all be free, and freedom doesn't mean only free from dictatorship, free from prison. Freedom means the will for responsibility and to use that will. We don't need to sing it, but I think you have understood it. Thank you very much for your attention.